Hello guys, my name is Kandy here and welcome back to another top 5 anthropomorphics in movies slash video games, number 6. And I think that's number 6, but you know, I'll figure it out in the on the titles of the playlist series. So yeah. I'm gonna cut that part out, but anyways guys, as you guys know, we will usually start from 5 to 1, 1 being the most top 5 of the 5s. So yeah, you guys voted for it in the Furry Amino polls. If you guys want to keep on check on that, make sure you guys follow me or check out my profile at Furry Amino. It's a free app to download, and yeah. Anyways guys, let's start with number 5, Barnaby. Barnaby from Amino is a playable hero and a member of the Rabbit clan. He is the second rabbit introduced, one of the first 4 DLC characters revealed during the Amino Kickstarter campaign. His story is a tan rabbit clad in a suit of gold plate mail, complete with a great helm and oversized gauntlet on his right paw. He carries a large great hammer along with a backpack filled with various items including a lantern. His gameplay ability is a unique hero is a tinkerer. When Barnaby equips a new item card he had already equipped, the old card is returned to his hand with the cost/gain removed. Tinkerer allows Barnaby to switch between a variety of items cards without losing them, adapting to his equipment bonuses for different situations. Discussing on the rings, a Rabbit Clan rings grant its heroes benefits while on plain tiles, or provide additional gold or prestige. Number 4, Banjo. Banjo from the Kazooie series is a brown honey bear created by Rare and one of 2 major protagonists in the Banjo-Kazooie series. He is always seen wearing a pair of yellow shorts, a black belt, a shark tooth necklace, and a blue backpack. Banjo made his debut appearance in Diddy Kong Racing alongside Tip Top and Conka as a heavy racer with a high top speed and low acceleration before starring in his own game. Several months later, since then, he has been the main character of every Banjo-Kazooie series game yet. A while back, Banjo adopted a Breagle named Kazooie, who is often seen seeking shelter in his backpack. The pair has gone on numerous adventures together, the purpose of most of them being to stop the sinister plans of the evil witch Gruntilda. Has returned in the series' latest installment for the Xbox 360. Banjo has also a younger sister named Tootie, who lives with him and Kazooie in a house at the bottom of Spiral Mountain. However, Banjo was not born a rare icon. Despite being quickly loved by millions, he was originally planned to be a small-time character in a Super Nintendo video game titled Project Dream. After the Nintendo 64 was released, the game was moved to the new console. However, it was found to be too generic, and the rabbit was planned to become the new main character. This too was unsuccessful, so Rare to try a game based around Banjo, which ultimately became Banjo-Kazooie. Banjo's origin is based on musical instrument of the same name, the banjo. Incidentally, Banjo himself is known to be an experienced banjo player, although the only time Banjo was ever seen playing his banjo was during the introduction theme in Banjo-Kazooie. His personality is very different from that of Kazooie's. Banjo is a well-mannered, sweet-natured, easygoing bear. He uses Mr. or Mrs. when speaking to people and generically likes to help people out, which means a lot of damage control when Kazooie opens her fat beak. Well, he always means well. He sometimes comes off as a bit slow. He tries to say something witty every now and then again, but usually he isn't any good at it. Despite his niceness, he can have short moments of being aggressively straightforward when angry. Banjo flips-flops a bit when it comes to bravery at times. He will jump into a situation quickly, but at other times he acts timid and doesn't want to commit. In all cases, however, he would much rather sit down and have either honey, pizza, or a nap, suggesting he is somewhat lazy, but he at least does not have the issue of showing food into their fat mouth. Throughout the series, most likely in Nuts and Bolts, many characters, including Banjo allies, have referred to Banjo as stupid and crazy. But this is a trait not shown in other games in the series. The real issue is mental instability and basically compulsive lies. Once come to terms with just maybe a happy life may be possible. Banjo's relationship with his younger sister Tootie probably hints that he cares for her deep down inside, since he didn't ask her whereabouts when she was captured, and even accepted the fact that all of the prizes won at the Furnish Fund in Banjo-Kazooie, it was her he was thinking on taking along. Banjo doesn't at all seem mind at Tootie's company at times, since he saw no problem when she began her flute solo in the opening. Banjo's ability cannot run very fast, and his jumping often requires some bird-enabled help. When Kazooie leaves the safely of his backpack, Banjo can use it as in variety of ways, such as an impromptu sleeping bay or a potato sack. Not to mention as an assault offensive weapon, the backpack also seemed to have an infinite storage capacity, containing most items with ease. Banjo, being a bear, is an excellent swimmer and has learned to how to paddle faster and hold his breath longer. Unlike Kazooie, Banjo has the ability to climb structures and grasp ledges with his fingers, allowing access to difficult-to-reach spots on the duo's adventure. When Banjo is paired with Kazooie, he has a lot of more skills at his disposal. The duo can perform a forward roll while running it to attack enemies. Kazooie can use Banjo as leverage to perform the rat-a-tat-rap. They can fly through the use of flight pads and utilize Kazooie's ability to fire different types of eggs. Banjo always has access to the powerful magical abilities of his allies, Mumbo Jumbo and Hubba Wumba. Depending on the game, one of the two will grant Banjo and Kazooie the ability to transform into different creatures, with each with its own unique skills and power. In Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, the bear and bird have forgotten their abilities and instead must battle the arch-nemesis Gruntilda the witch by creating awe-inspiring vehicles for all sorts of terrain and conditions. With an almost unlimited assortment of weaponry and gadgets to add these machines, Banjo and Kazooie will no doubt be ready for whatever challenges the new adventures may bring. Kazooie is also given a magical wrench used to smack enemies, as well as magically carrying objects and pipes. She attacks with it from the safety of Banjo's backpack. In Sonic Sega All-Star Racing, with Banjo-Kazooie, Kazooie pecks Banjos on the back of the head and then drops jiggies on their opponents with her magical wrench. Banjo's career first event of any significance in his life is when he first met Kazooie. Banjo made his home in Spiral Mountain with Kazooie and his sister Tootie. He was content to live in his small neck of the woods, but the other two bugged him to go on an adventure sometimes. In 1997, just before Banjo was convinced to have an adventure, he got a message delivered by Squawks, the parrot from Diddy Kong, asked for help enduring Rizpig off Timberlake Island. Banjo gladly helped, but Racing really didn't agree with him. A year later, Banjo finally caved in and planned an adventure with Kazooie and Tootie. The day they were to go on an adventure, Tootie was kidnapped by Gruntilda for her beauty, leading to a rescue operation. Normally, Banjo wouldn't bravely storm into a rescue operation, a witch's lair full of bear-smiting traps, but capture of Tootie and the prodding of Kazooie led him to go. Using teamwork in a series of moves taught by Bottles, Banjo saved his sister and buried the witch. However, 2 months later, the witch's minion, Klungo, transplanted Grunty's spirit into a time-altering suit. Gruntilda proceeded to capture Kazooie and mess up time, preventing the two duo from ever meeting in the first place. But with the help of some mumbo magic, Banjo was able to give chase, rescue his friends, and beat down Grunty a second time. In the peaceful period that followed, Banjo mostly enjoyed life. However, 2 years later, the witch returned in Banjo-Tooie when she was set free by her sisters and she destroyed Banjo's house, killing Bottles. Banjo sets out with Kazooie one more time to stop the witch and her two sisters from zapping the whole island off its life force to give Gruntilda a new body and hopefully finding a way to reviving Bottles as well as the now undead Jinjo King. Using Bottles' brother Jam Jars as a teacher, Banjo learned how to operate with an empty backpack and use Kazooie as a handgun, which was the definite moment in stopping Grunty for the third time. With no witch to worry about anymore, Banjo started to fix up his house, but gave up halfway though, and lived the carefree life. He ate pizza all day and slept all night, leading him to becoming temporarily obese. After a while, in 2008, Grunty came back again, but this time, she was followed by a mysterious being called LOG, who devised a competition to see who will own Spiral Mountain. With his quadruple chins and obesity magically removed, Banjo was anxious to earn the rights to his home and got to work. After a long test of vehicular combat, he won the challenge in Spiral Mountain Deeds. Then in 2010, Banjo got word of a racing tournament of some sort. He decided to put his old racing skills to the test, so he had Kazooie fix up the bolt bucket and went out racing with some Sonic friends. Number 3. Jack from Amorous is a bartender at Amorous Club. You can ask him for information about different characters in the current version of Amorous 0.8. Jack is dateable. Obtaining his phone numbers is arguably one of the most trickiest to get, but as he was among the first dates available, trial and error shouldn't be necessary for you to get it on your own. To attain Jax's number, you have to talk to him at the bar and ask for a drink to choose the option, quote-unquote, surprise me. Jax will follow up if you're sure, say yes, and he'll attempt to make a beverage while putting on a show. He will slip up and accidentally drop the liquor on the floor, select, quote-unquote, pay for the drink anyway, unquote, and he'll attempt to make a bargain with you to make up for it, but you must refuse to get his number. His appearance is a blue and yellow lizard that first appears wearing a black bow tie and a sexualized tuxedo without legs. If you date him, however, you will occasionally see him in a hoodie and jeans. And his eyes are stark orange and his eyebrow piercing. He appears a tad shorter than most of the other dateable characters, with a lean figure that is times described as girlish by the player, and he appeals to take the remark of a compliment. The color of his scales will change drastically depending on his mood. His personality when meeting him at the club, he acts mostly professional, refuses to talk about himself or accept sexual advances on him. However, he has shown a bad habit of showing off while mixing drinks and breaking things despite several warnings from the manager. When you obtain his phone number, meet him outside of Amorous and he seems apprehensive about the player's intention. Working at a nightclub has led to customers attempting to woo him for a one-night stand. Jax does, however, finds a favor towards the player when the two begin an emotional connection. If you choose to watch a horror movie at the theater with him, you'll find Jax doesn't care about the scary experiences, as he clings to the player throughout the movie for comfort. If you watch a romantic comedy, however, he'll become upset. This grants a tiny piece of information about him. Later, Jax is revealed to have a complex relating to an abusive ex-boyfriend that never seemed satisfied. His strive for success comes from his deep desire to go on above his ex-expectation and become a better person. Outside the context of his ex-boyfriend, Jax's sexual preferences are never explicitly discussed, although he wants to delegate the penetrative role to the player regardless of the selected gender, and will flirt submissively before and after their first sexual encounter. Number 2. Todd is a fox and the main protagonist of Disney's 1981 film The Fox and the Hound. In its 2006 midquel, he becomes best friends with Copper, the hound dog, despite the fact that the two should be natural enemies. His personality as a pup, Todd is a sweet, cunning, and lovable young fox who lives in a very carefree lifestyle with widowed Tweed. Since there are a few restrictions on his life, Todd is prone to being mischievous and getting into trouble. His mischievous side brings out a devil-may-care attitude chief and trouble in general. He's frequently bored and always on the lookout for a friend, which leads him to Copper. As any best friends, Todd treats Copper as his own flesh and blood. When Todd matures into an adult, he retains his affection for those he cares about most. Despite destiny driving a wedge between Copper and being returned to the wilderness by Widow Tweed, his extreme loyalty to those he cares for is shown when he helps Copper fight off an enormous bear. He later becomes amorous when he meets and falls in love with Vixie. Before I reveal number 1, here are some honorable mentions.
Over very troubled and dangerous waters. Arrow also performs dazzling feats within the walls of the tent.
Well, what's the matter with that?
They're Twitter-pated.
Twitter-pated?
Yes, nearly every...
In Albion, you can be anything you want to be, as everybody has their place in this magical world. Always changes into another. Walt Disney Pictures present.
Approaching at number 1, Bolt is the titular protagonist of the 2008 Disney animated feature of the same name. He is a white German Shepherd and the star of a live-action superhero series that has conditioned him to believe he's an authentic superpowered canine. When he becomes spirited away from his owner, Penny, Bolt embarks on a journey in the real world to get home. His role in the film is in the March 2008, and the 8-week-old Bolt is raised at the Silver Lake Animal Rescue Center. One day, a girl named Penny enters the clinic and spots Bolt. Almost immediately, Bolt turns to Penny, smiling and wagging happily, being distracted by his own tail and starting chasing it. Penny adopts the puppy, hugs him, and gives him his iconic collar. 5 years later, Penny has received a call from her quote-unquote father, alerting his daughter she is in danger from the evil Dr. Calico. To protect Penny, her father genetically manipulated Bolt to have superpowers like super strength, the super speed, heat vision, and his legendary super bark. His mission is to protect his owner from Dr. Calico and his minions and save Penny's father, who is being held prisoner using these powers. Bolt helps Penny foil Calico's plan, playing the role of a stereotypical nerveless superhero. However, it is soon revealed that the entire premise is part of a popular TV show where Bolt plays the lead role. Bolt, however, believes that his adventures are real and that Penny, his actual owner and whom he directs all of his considerable love and devotion to, is in real danger. The directors nurtured this illusion through the use of extensive live effects, hence tricking the apprehensive canine year after year into believing that Penny is in serious danger and in need of constant protection. Everything is done in order to achieve a more realistic, genuine performance from the poor dog whose only real interest is to be with his owner. Penny is a child actress who knows the drills, nonetheless returns Bolt's love when she is not being pulled away by other workers or her greedy agent. After each recording session at the end of the day, Bolt and Penny spend some time alone in the trailer located inside the studio. Aside from the recording, Penny is forced to leave Bolt every night alone in the trailer, as the directors are very keen to keep Bolt isolated from reality out of fear it would have on his performance. But she aspires to one day take him home with her and let him enjoy their life as a real dog. After a recording session, the two have some time on their own, but the dog is too worried and triggered to play any or even eat. Instead of, he persistently guards the dog from the potential evils he is convinced might still be outside. Penny seems worried and tries to connect with Bolt by getting him to play or calm him down, but soon must give up when her pink cell phone rings, reminding her that it is time to leave Bolt alone. Bolt obviously knows when earlier experience what the ringtone means, looks instantly at Penny and tries to block the door with his body, trying to keep her from leaving.